Hi, my name is Brittany Mills, and this is my case study on Mexico. To start off, I will give you a small overview of the country. Interestingly enough, Mexico's official name is the United Mexican States. The capital of Mexico is Mexico City. Their population is 116,220,947 people. Peso is the official currency. There's actually no official language in Mexico, but the majority of people do speak Spanish. Mexico is the 13th largest country in the world according to their landmass. The history of Mexico begins with the Aztec Empire. In 1519, Spain sent Hernán Cortés across the ocean to lead the Spanish expedition which overthrew the Aztec Empire. In 1821, Mexico City gained independence from Spain. Father Miguel Hidalgo began the independence movement in 1810. In 1821, the Treaty of Cordoba established Mexico as a constitutional monarchy, but 18 months later, the Mexican Republic was formed. In 1910, the Mexican Revolution was led by Madero to overthrow Diaz and end his centralized, powerful regime. Madero became the new president at the end of the revolution. In an attempt to decentralize power, the Institutional Revolution Party expanded the House of Deputies in 1977, and in 1990, the Federal Electoral Institute was created to ensure transparency and accountability in tallying the votes. Despite the PRI's attempt to reform in 2000, the National Action Party won the presidency, changing the one-party regime for the first time in decades. In 2012, the PRI won office back with President Peña Nieto, who has claimed to be different than the old PRI regime. Regime type. Mexico is a democracy, but is not considered to be a full democracy because it still has existing government corruption. They are considered a constitutional federal republic like the United States. Mexico also has a three-branch system. The president is directly elected with no provisions to prevent re-election. They serve 6-year terms and win by a simple majority. The legislative branch is composed of the Senate, the upper house, and the Chamber of Deputies, which is the lower house. The senators there are 3 per state elected through relative majority, 1 through first minority principle, and 2 through relative majority. The chamber members are elected through proportional representation. The judicial branch is the Supreme Court, and it is elected by the legislative branch. There are 13 ministers in the Supreme Court who serve 15-year terms. Unlike the U.S., Mexico has a multi-party system, which means more than 2 parties hold majorities in the Chamber of Deputies. So we have mostly Democrat and Republicans, but over there's about 4 major parties. Political identity. Ethnicity. There are indigenous people, mestizos, and whites mostly among the majority of Mexicans. Although the indigenous people are diverse, having 56 recognized groups, they unite politically for rights, education, and equality. The PRI regime actually attempted to decrease ethnic differences in a campaign called Mestizaje, promoting the Mexican race as one diverse people, which was pretty successful and did decrease ethnic division. Class has been a defining role in Mexican society. 10% of Mexicans make up the upper class, accounting for 38% of all income in 1992. 30% make up the middle class, and 60% comprise the lower class. As far as regional identity goes, there's little evidence to support it. Ideologically, people are not united regionally, especially since the regime changed from the PRI party to the PAN party and now back to the PRI party. Religion has some form of political identity in Mexico as well. The picture to the right is a picture of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, which means Our Lady of Guadalupe. She is said to be a manifestation of the Virgin Mary who appeared to a Mexican Indian in 1531 in Mexico City. She is a patron that is recognized in religious ceremonies, political speeches, and literature. 89% of the Mexican people claim to be Roman Catholics, while 6% are Protestant and 5% claim other. Indian Christianity is also recognized in Mexico, which came to be whenever missionaries came early on in Mexico from Spain and tried to convert the Indians to Christianity. They just combined the Catholic saints with the Indian gods. Gender has a lot of identity in politics as well. Mexico practices machismo, which means manliness, and it takes on traditional gender roles, giving the woman a passive role, a housekeeper, a mom, a nurturer, while men are supposed to be out working, they're to be assertive. In the 1970s, there was a feminist movement which seems to have changed a lot of the gender roles in Mexico. In the 1990s, 30% of the workforce was made of women. Economy. Mexico's economy, like Brazil, has risen quickly in the last decade, but it does not reflect the everyday economy of the people. Mexico's freedom score is 67, making it the 50th freest economy in the world. Their GDP is $1.0004 trillion. The per capita income is $9,243. Mexico is nominally the 13th largest economy. They have an unemployment rate of 6.2%, and between 2010 and 2012, Mexico's economy grew 4.3%. But in 2013, only 1.8% grew, showing a stagnation in the current economy. So it seems that it's stopped growing as much. The pie chart there shows 49.3% of the economy is from manufacturing, followed by 23.4% in financial services, then commerce, agriculture, and other services make up the rest of the economy. Currently, President Enrique Peña Nieto resides as president, elected last year. He is a PRI member, but the party has changed their platform so as not to reflect the old powerful regime. Nieto has lost much of his support due to the divided government, poverty, and drug war. With divided government, meaning the Senate and Chamber of Deputies have different leading parties, the Mexican government has not been able to accomplish much. Poverty continues to strike, with many Mexicans only earning the equivalent of $15 US per day. Although some relief has begun with a welfare program called Progresa to help poor women buy food for their families. The drug war also continues to be an issue in Mexico. Mexicans do not feel safe, and they are blaming the government for making empty promises. A new issue in Mexico is obesity. Mexico has surpassed the U.S. in obesity, causing President Nieto to form a health campaign which informs Mexicans on the issue of obesity and gives tips for a healthier lifestyle. On a good note, Mexico recently defeated New Zealand in a World Cup qualifier. Events like this one increases nationalism and actually helps gain the government's support. And this is a list of my references. So basically, throughout this course, I've learned that Mexico, although it is similar to the United States in what it's supposed to be politically, it doesn't reflect what the Constitution says most of the time. And because the president can be reelected as many times as they want, it ends up being a powerful regime with centralized power instead of holding the democratic values of change and representing the people correctly. I think that they have done a good job in the deputy of chambers in the Senate as far as not being able to serve consecutive terms in the deputy of chambers. But overall, it seems that Mexicans are not very pleased with their government system, and haven't been for some time. People continue to promise them change, and when they elect them, they end up becoming power hungry, and it usually doesn't work out. And as far as the economy goes, many people are calling Mexican the next big economy like China. They're calling, I believe it's the Mexican tiger instead of the Asian tiger now. But Mexico's economy is doing well, but it does not seem to be doing well among the people. There's still a lot of poverty, a lot of unemployment, and although some of the people are prospering in the country, it seems to be the upper class. And that is my presentation, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you.